Good morning from Jonesboro, Arkansas. May 30, no, not May. Jeez, I wish it was May. Because then school will be out for a few weeks. It is August 31st, 2025, 8:21 a.m. 2017 Chevrolet Bolt, 60,504 miles. Here's how many miles are on the battery. It was replaced under the recall, where General Motors replaced almost every battery for the 2017, 2018, maybe even 2019 Chevrolet Bolt. Hey, stop that. We normally charge the car to 90%. Hilltop Reserve, which I think is 90%. Chevy calls it Hilltop Reserve for some reason. Right now it's between 20 and 25%. You can tell, let me stop so I won't be dangerous. When there's no traffic, I want to be safe. Look here, each one of these is 5%. That white bar is 25%. But all that tells us is we are between 20 and 25%. And it's been on that spot for a while, so I'm betting it's closer to 20%. And this will show us how many kilowatt hours we've used. So we're gonna go hook up at Hyundai in Jonesboro, Kavanaugh Hyundai, because unless they've changed, they have free electricity level 3. And it'll show me what percent of the battery is, so I can do some mathematics and see what kind of degradation we're looking at for the car. But the last person that charged here put on plug share, there's a note that says port number 1 or charging cord number 1 is down. I have no idea what charging cord number 1 is. We may get there and can't charge, but they have 2 chargers. One of them is always blocked by their cars that are for sale, which is the dumbest thing, unless they just don't want people to use them. And lately, they've dropped the maximum kilowatts from 50 to 25. Maybe they've done that because they don't want people using it. They want to discourage it. I'd rather they just charge money than drop the kilowatts myself. I don't know. Or maybe it's just broke and it's just not going to deliver more than 25. Who knows? Which brings up another point. Why is it that Tesla is so much more reliable than everybody else? These chargers I'm going to, they're only probably 2 years old, and it's common. I mean, these, not EV Go, but the ones going to dealerships. EV Connect? If EV Connect's not right, I'll put the name here. Anyway, all the time you see these dealers putting them in, and almost immediately, within months, they'll be broke and will not work and never will work. Why would a dealership spend all that money installing these things, and then when they tear up, just shrug their shoulders 2 months later, say, oh well, at least we put them in. That's what Ford demanded. You know, I don't care if they work or not. Ford wanted us to put them in. We did. There we go. That satisfied our franchisee contract. Maybe, or something like that. I don't know. If I owned a dealership, even if I didn't have any, even if I thought EVs were stupid, once I spent all that money installing them, by George, I'd want them to work, because it'd drive me nuts knowing I wasted that money. But of course, those type of dealers probably feel like they wasted it as soon as they put it in anyway, and why put more money into it? I don't know. But me saying Tesla is far more reliable is not me being a fanboy, which some people may say. But I challenge you. Tell me the national network that is as reliable as Tesla when it comes to charging. Tell me who it is. I don't know of one. And ChargePoint's business model is stupid. ChargePoint sells the chargers, then they have nothing to do with them. And so if somebody abandons them, a business closes, owners of the business just don't want to go through the trouble of keeping them updated or fixing them, then they're just sitting there. Now imagine this, if you're any business. How does it look when you have hundreds, probably thousands, seriously, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know how many it is. How does it look to have at least hundreds of your chargers with the name of your company on it that you're CEO of out there dead? How do you think that makes you would that not drive you nuts as a CEO? It would me. I would want them taken up. I would want them removed. I would not want my chargers out there not working by the hundreds. Anyway, just my thoughts. So if Tesla is so reliable, why don't I just take it to the supercharger a couple miles from my house? I have the adapter. Well, because the supercharger doesn't have a screen. And I don't think I could look at the app and see what percent battery this boat has. There's nowhere in this car you can look and get the battery percentage. Now I could get a dongle, but I just don't own one, haven't bought one. I wouldn't use it that much, so I haven't done it. The dongle would tell me, but the level 3 chargers, you plug them up and they'll tell you what percentage battery you have when you plug up. Here we are, Kavanaugh Hyundai. Kavanaugh Kia, when they were building it, I said there's one thing I can guarantee you. They will have at least one level 3 charger. Well, that's why you shouldn't listen to me. My guarantee was wrong. I thought for sure they would. I guess they figured, hey, we got one at Hyundai and it's owned by the same place. I just figured Kia would mandate all new dealerships would have to have them. I guess not. I guess maybe, you know, but anyway. It says available. I can't remember where's the best place to park, the handicap spot or the next one. I'm just gonna park here, right here in the middle. And try and make sure I get close enough. Okay. See what we got here. Put it in park. All right, I would really like to get it down further, but it gets much lower than this. My wife's gonna plug it up at the house. This is her primary vehicle. But we use 14% for climate change, 1% for battery conditioning, 85% for driving, 48 kilowatt hours, 177 miles. Let's get this thing plugged up. Hopefully this will work, and let's see what kind of degradation we're looking at. Now, like I always say, because of my motorcycle wreck, which took my leg, and I don't know if you can tell, but severely damaged my left wrist, where those two bones used to be are nothing but metal rods, or simply metal rods. I had to have a metal rod put in my right thumb, so I have the hand strength of seriously probably a 12 to 14-year-old girl. Now, can a 12 to 14-year-old girl handle these big, huge, thick, heavy CCS cables? They can, the average one, but they're gonna be grunting and groaning. I can't do it with one hand for sure, so I'm gonna have to shut this off and get this started. That didn't seem to be that difficult today for some reason. See if I can get over here in my wheelchair and get a look at the screen. Come on, show me the percent of the battery. Y'all probably can't see here, but it's saying zero energy add 18%. So we are 18%. I know you can't see the screen, so geez, you know, this is such a hassle for a wheelchair. Good gracious. Oh my God, look at this. I'm caught between this heavy cord in the car and that thing. Whew, man, I'm telling you, things like that, y'all don't realize about wheelchairs. Now, I have before gone around here, you know, and gone through this way. I can barely fit with this narrow wheelchair, but then I still got to get it. Oh, it's a mess no matter how I do it. It's a mess. You know, you know, the 2017 is such a beautiful car. This orange 17 boat is such a beautiful car in my opinion. I love that color. And I have a 2021 Tesla. This is what my wife drives. I would rather, you ready to freak out, Tesla people? I would rather transfer everything in my Tesla to this car and drive this car. If this had all the technology the 2021 Tesla has, I'd rather drive this car. The seats in this are good enough quality. The seats in the Tesla Model 3 2021 are better, but they're still good enough. I think the ride quality in this is better than the Tesla, but I think that's because the Tesla is more like a sports car as far as feeling all the bumps and stuff. This one sits a little higher. I like that better. Yeah, maybe I should have bought a Model Y, right? I'd rather drive this car than the Tesla if it had all the Tesla technology. That means you'd have to put the Tesla cameras right here in each side. Tesla cameras right there, front, back, inside, full self-driving. Turn this into a Tesla. I would choose this easily. It's not even close to my Model 3 Tesla. Not even close. Look at this, 55 miles right now. 60 minutes to 80%. I'm not gonna be here that long. You know, I didn't even check to see if this is still free. I bet it is. If it's not, I'll let y'all know. If it is, I won't say any more about it. Okay, it just jumped up from 52.9 to 53 kilowatts. 53 kilowatts for free is pretty awesome. If I ever need anything from them, like if I was going to get some tires rotated, now I get mine done free at Discount Tire, but if I was going to pay, I think I'd come up here and have them do it. Have them rotate the tires. I want to make sure they weren't going to charge me a fortune first. But even if they're going to charge me a little extra than somebody else, I would still do it. You know why? They give out free electricity. We should appreciate that. And yes, I said I'm getting free electricity. I would face the camera toward me, but I didn't shave this morning. Oh well. See, I'm getting free electricity. Free. I'm getting free electricity. I keep saying that because it drives the EV haters freaking insane. They go nuts when you say you're getting free electricity. Well, nothing in life is free, buddy. Hey, that sounds like liberal talking right there. Thinking something's free. Somebody somewhere is paying for it. Now, so some people say free to me. Screw that. I'm not saying that bull crap. I'm not saying free to me. It's freaking free. Everybody in the world knows what I'm talking about. I better shut my gate, the light's on. Everybody in the world knows what I'm talking about. When you go to a burger place, buy one, get one free hamburger. You give them the coupon and you go to work and say, I got a free burger. Nobody says that burger cost somebody, somewhere, something. Everybody knows what you're talking about when you say you get a free burger. You got a free milkshake. You got free electricity. It's just the EV haters can't freaking stand it. They go insane. Anytime anything positive is said about electric cars, it seriously drives them freaking mad. And I think it's funny. I think it's freaking hilarious. Well, they get so upset. So yes, I am getting free electricity. You hear me? Free electricity for me. Wait a minute, forget that for me. That just kind of slipped out. I'm getting free electricity. Ha, 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 ha. Let's look at these EV9s. I think it's what they are. Man, if you're gonna buy one of these, you gotta have so much freaking money. If you're gonna buy any new car these days, you gotta have so much freaking money. $72,000. $72,000. And let's see, it'll go, according to them, 283 miles. I mean, this is nice. Very nice. Man, oh my gosh. That's almost what we paid for our house. We have nothing special, but a nice house. That's good enough. Nothing wrong with it. We paid $111,111.11 for it. That's almost the cost of a house. Okay, look at this. This car they've had forever. I'm surprised another dealer hasn't bought it or something, and I'm surprised they haven't really marked it down. I love these EV6s. Most people prefer the EV5. Most people say these EV6s are ugly, including my wife don't really like them, but I just think it's a beautiful car. Can y'all hear those fans? It's really ramping up to cool down the battery. Nissan Leaf wouldn't do that. Nissan Leaf doesn't have temperature controlled battery. They would just let it overheat. At least, well, yeah, the first and second generation. We're still getting 47 kilowatts. A few minutes ago, I hit the 20-minute mark. I've added About 90 miles of range. 90 miles of range in 20 minutes. And this is a fast charger, but the Chevy Bolt is the slowest charging fast charger on the market. Probably, maybe not. That's pretty much true. It's probably not going to be exactly true, but that is pretty much true. Once again, Kavanaugh Hyundai. I wish you had something I could buy that I could use. I would do it to say thank you for this. It's you know, it's not something they have to do. Now, somebody somewhere probably thought, let's do this. It'll get people on the parking lot. Once they're on the parking lot, maybe we can get them to buy a car. I'm sure there's some marketing reason why they're doing it, but still, that does not take away from their generosity, because Chevy Place down the street, they're not doing it. They want 40-something cents a kilowatt hour, which is fine, and it's a lot faster. Down there, I'm thinking it's like 200 kilowatt chargers, 150, maybe 250, I don't know, but they're faster than 50. It wouldn't matter with this. This car will never get over 53 or so. But if you're traveling through Jonesboro, Arkansas, you can stop here and get free electricity. At least for now. It's been like that since this has been open, probably close to 2 years. I was just looking at the screen and realized this is a 62.5 kilowatt charging unit. So you can get up to maybe 62.5. I mean, right conditions, I guess. But the Chevy Bolt topped out at 53. Right now we're at 70%. It just went to another screen. 70%, and we are getting... Well, it's not going to show me unless I start the car. There we go. 70%, we're getting 26.1 kilowatts. Man, that's slow. But that's the nature of the Chevy Bolt. The biggest negative about this car, of course, is the fast charging, how slow it is. But I'm telling you, these used first generation Chevy Bolts are a bargain. My EV loving / Tesla hating cousin bought one just yesterday from Hybrid and Electric Car Sales in Franklin, Tennessee. Bought one from Chip. I think it was a 2018 or 2019 model, actually. I don't know, but it looks like this one, except different color. I think silver. But anyway, he paid, I think, $12,000 for it after the tax credit. He bought it for his mother. His mother is 80 years old. She don't have much money. She's living on Social Security. Thankfully, her house is paid for. But she could not buy a car. Her car had over 200,000 miles on it. Someone in their 80s don't need to be driving a car at 200,000 miles, in my opinion. So anyway, because it could break down the side of the road, and it could be a bigger deal for someone in their 80s than someone in their 50s or even 60s. But anyway, he bought her one, and she said that one of her children said, don't you get one of those electric cars, those things are junk. So a lot of people at her church said, you better not get one of those electric cars, you'll be regretting it. And she said she would tell them, I know better. Jim has 2 of them and he told me different. Now my other aunt, she got called to her reward a little over a year ago. That's what my grandmother used to say. My grandmother would say, you didn't go to heaven, you didn't get called to your reward. She'd say reward. You know, those 2 syllables were definitely stressed out, so that's the way I say it. My other aunt, she got called to her reward about a year and a half ago, and she was the opposite. She did not want an electric car, and people had her scared that the government was going to force her to buy one. Every time I'd show up, she'd say, I like your car, and I'd say it's electric, and she'd say, I wouldn't have it. No sir, I wouldn't have it. I sure hope the government don't force me to buy one. And I thought, you know, that's terrible. It wasn't anything she sit around and worried about forever and ever, but it did concern her at least a little bit that the government was going to force her to buy a car. Now, that's a terrible thing to put on someone in their 80s who can barely get by, that the government is going to force them to buy an electric car. It's just terrible. And I'd tell her, I say, the government is not going to force you to buy an electric car. Well, I sure hope they don't, but I think they might. Anyway, my other aunt on the other side of the family, she's glad to have it. No oil changes, no maintenance. She drives about 50 miles a week. It'd be great for her. And she can get by on her 110 outlet because she only drives about 50 miles a week. A 110 outlet will not be a problem for her. Okay, it just hit. Okay, it just hit 200 miles of range. 80% in 5 minutes. We're getting 20.3 kilowatts. This is the last update I'm going to do until I'm back in my office at home telling you the degradation, talking about the degradation report. But we're going to add around 153, 155 miles of range. We got here, I think it said 47, I think. I'm going to unplug in just a couple minutes. I would like to have enough juice to get home with 200 miles. I live about 4 or 5 miles from here. I don't know what's going to happen. Be nice though, be kind of cool. Don't know why, but anyway, why not? But anyway, all right. Let's get this wrapped up, go back to my home office, and see what's what with the degradation. And I lied, I said that was gonna be the last update. This is the last one. 19.3 kilowatts at 80%. But now I'm about to unplug. Okay. According to the car, about 165 miles or so of range was added to it. According to the app, it was more, but the app goes by what you should get as far as miles per kilowatt hour. So anyway, even though it's a Sunday, a salesman came up here. I had to talk to him. Ugh. The reason I come here on Sundays, he came here to get a smoker or something for his family cookout, he said. I'm not know, but he said, man, I'm gonna sell you a car someday. His name is Hooks. If y'all want to buy a car from Hyundai here in Jonesboro, ask for Hooks. Yeah, I asked him, said plural? He goes, yes, plural. So not Hook. So anyway, he's a nice guy. And I like to buy a car from him if I needed one, and you know, we can make it happen, but I don't need one. And I told him, I said, man, it's nice of y'all to give this electricity out for free. He said, they keep telling me they're gonna start charging for it, but they haven't done it yet. Thank you, Hyundai. Thank you, Kavanaugh. Appreciate it. Okay, let's take a look at this Excel file I created to track the battery degradation, and all these different tabs do different things. But for this one, oh, look at this. Original usable battery capacity, 60. Now that was the gross capacity when it was released from the factory, the day it left the factory. But with the battery refresh, most people say 60 usable. 64, 65, 66, nobody can agree on the gross amount. And according to DuckDuckGo, the usable battery capacity of a 2017 Chevy Bolt is approximately 60 kilowatt hours. However, blah 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 blah, and I asked it with the refresh battery, and this is, so that's what I'm going with. That's what I went with last time. That's what I'm going with again. You can disagree and run your own numbers if you want. Ending odometer, 60,509 miles, 35,823 miles when the battery was replaced. We got it just a couple miles after that. So all these miles we put on ourselves. This 24,686 miles. We drove 177 miles. Beginning battery percentage 100%, ending 18%. Now I would have loved to have gotten it down to 5% or less. I believe it would have been more of a chance of it being super accurate. Super accurate. But it just wasn't going to happen. 82% of the battery drained, 48 kilowatt hours used. That gives us a driving range of 216 miles, 58.5 kilowatt hours available. Just using these numbers and doing math, it shows us 58.5 available from 60. That's a loss of 1.5 or 2.4%. Now I want to show you something. Look at this huge driving range difference. But total miles driven 251. I want to show you something. 251 divided by and the amount of energy used. Where'd that go? Right there. 57.2. 4.38, 4.39, rounded off 4.4 miles per kilowatt hour. That's pretty good. But look at this one. We're going to take 177 miles divided by and 48 kilowatt hours used. 3.69, 3.7 rounded off. That's why. The miles per kilowatt hour was way less this time, in part because it's been so hot that the air conditioner's just been going nuts, blowing really, really hard. You know, so anyway, I wasn't paying too much attention to this. This is what we're looking at. When this said 18%, I wish it would tell you the 10th spot past the decimal point, because when the screen on the charger, on the public charger, the charge point unit said 18, it could not have been 18.0. They always round off. If it was actually 18.9, then we got 1.4%. If it was 18.0, then 2.4. 18.5, 1.8. I don't know if a OSB dongle would tell me more exactly or not. I wonder if it would tell me 18.5, 18.4. If it would, it might be worth getting just for that. Or if it also does whole numbers. You know, the same with this right here. This is 3. What if it was 3.9? It'd been 0.8, 1.7, 3.5, 1.2. So what this does, it gives us a rough idea of how healthy the battery is and how much degradation we have. It's not going to be exact. I do not have exactly 2.4 from 1.7. But let's say I do. We've lost half a kilowatt of actual usable battery in the last 4,000 miles. Just a little bit shy, 18 miles shy of 4,000 miles. So I can live with that, and I can live with 2.4% over the course of 25,000 mile battery. Now people say you have to, the haters say you have to replace the battery every 50,000 miles. Well, let's double this, even though you shouldn't have to. That'd be basically 5%. And forget these numbers. Let's take 239, which is what it said at the factory. That'd be 227 miles. And actually, I'm thinking this is 239 was when it left the factory. With the original battery, but it has a bigger battery now, which I'm thinking is about 260 miles, but I'm not for sure. 247 miles. But all these ratings at the factory are based on, I think, 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour, I think. So anyway, there you go. This battery is still extremely healthy. We know that for sure. And I'll do another battery degradation test when I can, not for at least another 10,000 miles, absolute minimum, maybe 25,000 miles. We'll see how long it takes to get there. But you can change this number if you don't believe this number is right. If you believe it's more like 58, well, it can't be 58 because we used more kilowatt hours than that. If you think it's more like 64, then we got some huge degradation. Huge degradation. I think that's about right. Whoops. Okay. There we go. 60 is what I'm going with. On another note, it's been 576 days since I pumped gasoline. 468 since we purchased gasoline. So woohoo. Okay. Alright, I hope y'all found this useful. And I know that I definitely bloviate too much. I'm a blatherskite at times. I love telling the kids at school, I love teaching them the definition of blatherskite. I'll be like, hey, don't be a blatherskite. I'm like, what's that? And I'll say, someone that talks a whole lot but doesn't make any sense. And almost every time they'll say, I got a brother like that. I got a brother who's a blatherskite. Or I got a sister that's a blatherskite. All right, you have a good day. Bye.